Okay.
So, yeah, that's that and that little community actually came up when Sam was being investigated as missing. Which is why I say Monte Cristo. Yeah, that's not an area you really want to go in by yourself. I would be prone to say I don't think Vesper Peak alone is one you want to go by yourself. Basically, because I think there's bad elements there, and two, there's a lot more missing people than we get told about. And if you look at Missing 411 with David Paulides, you'll find granite mountains are a very key element to these missing people that are, that vanish. So, yeah, and that's one thing I want to do. One thing I want to do with the team is get a map and do an overlay with the missing people, with the Bigfoot reports and the UFO reports, and see how much correlation is with all three of those areas.
You've got to go up to Buck Creek, though, on the Seattle and visit that cemetery.
Well, yeah, we'll take you with us.
You know when you were talking about how Bigfoot is stealth and he can be real quiet, so he's undetected and stuff. Mm-hmm. When you're standing in that cemetery, what it feels like is Bigfoot has breathed the air out of that place. That's still, that quiet, and the air doesn't move.
And that's actually common for a lot of different paranormal activity. When you won't hear the birds, you won't hear the wind. It just gets completely still. Yeah. And I'd like to get a hold of the Soxhuatl tribe anyway and find a storyteller. So if you have any connections in the Soxhuatl tribe that would be willing to come out and talk, would love to get one of the elders or one of the native lore and have them on the show.
On that note, I would like to say to any of our local listeners that are thinking about taking some of these trails and going up to that area, do remember that it is a tribal cemetery, and be respectful to their property up there.
Oh, very much so. Very much so. And respect is just common sense, but I know there's not a lot of common sense today. But, respect culture. That's the big thing. It doesn't matter what culture it is, but respect is just paramount. I can't stress that enough. And that goes with, paranormal hotspots. If it says no trespassing, then it's no trespassing. And when it comes to tribal land, especially, respect it. And you brought up an excellent point with people that want to come up here and are from the city and aren't familiar with the mountains to begin with. Just walking around the mountains with a bottle of water and not prepared is a bad idea to begin with. That's
absolutely.
At a minimum, you want at least a 24-hour pack, and you want bottles of water. You want a fire starter. You want an extra set or two of clothes, a jacket, because the weather up here changes at the drop of a hat. It might be completely sunny and it can snow in an hour. Well, especially right now. Maybe not in the summer, but in the summer.
Eric,
go ahead.
One of the big things is the quiet up there. You need to have some. If you're not packing a sidearm, you need to have something that's going to make a whole lot of noise, because you will be stalked up there. Whether it's by a cat, a bear, Bigfoot, an alien, I don't even know what all's up there. But there is something that, I promise you, there is something that follows you up there. I have been followed up there. I have been nearly abducted up there. It is a scary place up there.
Well, and you know what, Jamie, I imagine you are a person who respects the areas that you go into. Being from up here, I know you do. But for our listeners, just remember, if you don't respect areas like that, it's probably not the living you're going to have to worry about. Don't make FMP come save you.
No. Not even a little bit. And, you know, when you're talking native land like that, skinwalkers are a very big creature that is involved with native land. And you can look through many different native cultures that all have their own variation of the skinwalker. And the skinwalker is essentially a guardian. Some say they're shapeshifters. You won't see them. You'll feel them. But they're very dangerous if you disrespect their property. So Markham, our scientist, is actually in the chat room. He couldn't make it on the show tonight. Work keeps him away all the time. And he's saying last summer when he was here, it went from hot to hotter at the drop of a hat, and the nights were nice and cool. And, you know, I got to bring up Markham. I'm sorry, Markham. But Markham actually heard his first Bigfoot knock right here on Haystack last year. And
I won't doubt it.
What was cool, Jamie, is it was right there in the gravel pit. It wasn't even up on the mountain. It was in the gravel pit.
Oh, my.
There's nobody around. So you know it's nothing else. Woodpeckers have their own unique sound. I've been asked before, well, how do you know Bigfoot knocks aren't woodpeckers? Well, woodpeckers are much quieter than what a Bigfoot knock is. It's not a woodpecker. And what was unique about that particular knock, though, is it had tone to it. It actually did a kind of like a bum, 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 bum. It had tone, which I've never heard that kind of a knock before. And Markham looked at me and said, "Whoa, wait a minute. Is that what I think it was?" And I said, "Yeah, I can't think of anything else it would be." And he got excited because that was his very first ever Bigfoot knock.
Well, there's a gentleman of the name Brandon Gilbert, and he lives down in Cedar Woolley now, I believe. And he was working up on the mountain back behind the ranch, doing a logging job. And he came off of that mountain scared to death because he swears. He absolutely swears, and he's a very quiet guy. He doesn't BS, and he's not, he's not the person that would just lie like that. And he said that he saw Bigfoot, and it was right over by your neck of the woods, Eric, on Haystack. And he would not go back up and finish that logging job for nothing up there. And it wasn't that Bigfoot did anything, but he couldn't believe he actually saw one, and he didn't want to have any part of meeting one.
Well, I don't, and I know we have Bigfoot right here in our backyard. I know that. No, I haven't seen one. And it's hard to explain. It's hard to describe, but you can feel the energy of them. You know they're there.
Oh, yes.
Actually, my mother-in-law has seen one, Eric. She has an experience, and at your birthday, she could probably tell you her story.
Okay.
But she has seen one in Washington. Her entire family actually saw it while they were camping.
Where, and that was here?
No, that would have been SWAT campground near Cleellum.
Okay.
And they were near the top of the pass, I believe, when they saw it. So that's the I-90 pass. I can't remember what pass that's called.
Oh, okay. That would be Stevens Pass, I believe.
No, Stevens is 2.
Okay, so it's
Snoqualmie Pass.
Snoqualmie Pass. So yeah, Markham's talking about our experience in the chat room, and he had his FLIR camera, and we actually saw an anomaly on the FLIR because we actually, like stupid people, went up there at nighttime. I don't like going on Haystack at nighttime. I really don't.
No,
and I will not go up there. I will not go up there by myself. Even during the
Absolutely
daytime.
not.
Even during the daytime. But Markham and I went up there at night, and the feeling we got was just unnerving. We felt watched. We knew we were being followed.
Absolutely.
It wasn't by a cougar. It wasn't by a bear. I know the difference. We have bears and cougars up here. We know that. But we were armed. I will not go off my property towards the mountain without at least my 9mm. And that even to me, a 9mm is weak when it comes to a bear or cougar. Enough
There's
to
something out there.
Oh yeah, hands down. And like Markham said, he's more concerned with cougars than Sasquatch because, well, Sasquatch, and Gary could tell you his story. I do think Bigfoot will attack you if, one, they have young with them, and two, if you're doing something to disrespect their territory. They're very territorial creatures. I think those are the main two times they will attack. Other than that, they keep to themselves, and if you don't listen to their warnings, they will attack. There's been many cases of that.
Or if you don't have beef jerky.
Or if you don't have beef jerky, exactly.
To give them. Like if you have beef jerky and don't share, well, then you
snap into a Slim Jim. But yeah, so Nikki says in the chat room, yeah, it's always good to carry when you're in the woods. At a minimum, like I said, I carry my 9mm. If it's hunting season, I take my 308 and my 9mm for a backup. And that's the only time you'll ever find FMP armed when it comes to paranormal investigation. We won't carry firearms to private investigations, things of that nature, ever.
Until I get a proton pack.
Well, that's different. That's not a firearm.
If I get one of those, I'm bringing it.
And Markham is going to make us a proton pack.
Please tell me that's not a Ghostbuster thing.
It is.
Okay, it's not a Ghostbusters thing.
Are you serious?
So Markham's going to make us a proton pack and a flux capacitor.
That is not going to help you on Haystack, mister.
It will as long as we don't cross the streams.
Pack a lunch.
So some of the scientific things we've talked about over the last couple of years is actually, and I don't think he's been able to work on it because we actually kind of forgot about this project, but taking a satellite dish, which everyone's got at least 2 or 3 floating around the yard because, dish network, you take them down, and throwing it on the top of the truck and basically creating a glorified EMF meter on a larger scale. And you can use that, hook it up through a computer, and be able to track potentially Bigfoot, but mostly for UFO tracking. Because I'm curious if you could track a UFO through any high-scale EMF, and I'm pretty sure you could, just by the the magnetic fields that they create.
Possible, makes sense.
So, that's why it's great having, even though we're not a evidence collection team, we still have 2 scientists on the team along with a therapist. So
how much power would you...
We need a therapist.
We do. Any team does.
Yes, absolutely.
What were you saying, Cole?
How much power would you need for that, though? Like, how big of a range would you need to catch it? For a UFO, I'm saying.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
and Marco might be able to actually answer that in the chat. I'm really not sure. We haven't looked a whole lot into this. There's just some basic discussion concepts that we've discussed over the last couple of years. So he's saying he's got the waveguides calculated, just needs time to work out the mechanics of it.
Okay. Well, I have a satellite dish. Eric, come get it.
I've got a satellite dish right here, and I think Markham's got 3 of them in North Carolina.
and I was